welcome to Soul Activation Podcast. My name is Suzanne Alexandria, and I am an intuitive, I am a guide, I'm a spiritual coach and a life coach, and I channel angels, archangels, ascended masters, and your own team, even your deceased loved ones. So my podcast and my work is about expressing that higher dimension of yourself and connecting with guidance, with leadership, with the leader within you, so that you can live life from a much higher plane. I spent 20 years in corporate America, and I still work in corporate America, and I love that vibe, but I learned that I was missing a critical ingredient to the happiness of my life, which was to be spiritually grounded and spiritually centered. I mean, I thought at the time I was, because I went to church and I did some things, but lo and behold, I had no idea the capacity that I and people like you have to really richly connect to a higher plane and to the team that so dearly wants to work with you. You know, your team of angels and guides just plain and simply want you to be happy. That is their number one goal. I call my team the A team. I call them all the A team. They want you to be happy. They want you to find what it is that lights you up. They are guides. Call in, join me, or work with me. Go to SuzanneAlexandria.com if you're looking for true guidance, classes, experiential knowing, and opening your intuition. That's what I do. SuzanneAlexandria.com. Get on my free email newsletter. Let's connect and let's see if we're a good fit. And meanwhile, stay tuned and buckle up because we're going to raise your vibration right now. Oh, good afternoon. Hi, Betsy Abrams. Thanks for joining me today on Soul Activation Podcast.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to be here with you.
Oh, I am too. We're going to raise the vibration. Let's start right now by asking the angels to raise everyone's vibration who's going to listen to this live right now or later, because that's what this is all about, lifting and expressing and opening. So as you've just heard, I'm Suzanne Alexandria, and today's podcast is something unique that my colleague and friend Betsy Abrams and I both know well. It's about stress and chronic stress, and we're going to help illuminate perhaps some areas in your life that you can make changes in to have less stress, because that is so helpful for all of us these days. So Betsy Abrams is the owner and proprietor and the brilliant mind behind an amazing spa here in Denver, Colorado, in Littleton. It's called wellbeing.com. And I highly recommend that you check out their website right now if you've never heard of 5 Wellbeing. Even if you're not in the city of Denver, locally, she has an amazing storefront of products designed to help her clients with well-being. And so much of your work, Betsy, is about releasing stress and coming to a place that's so much richer and more comfortable in life. Right. So today we're going to highlight her work and your thoughts, and also some ideas, and get some ideas going for listeners about where you might find some release or some knowing. Because to me and to Betsy in general, understanding and pinpointing where there is an issue is actually where it all begins. And when you can see where you might have stress and be able to make changes, proactive changes, then your life can actually change in extraordinary ways. So that's what this is about. So Betsy, I would just love for you to introduce yourself a little bit. I already kind of did, but give us a little bit of your background and how you came into being the owner of this amazing place, and why. I know that's a big ask, but
no worries. Yeah, thanks for having me. So as Suzanne said, I'm Betsy Abrams, and I've owned 5 Wellbeing. We opened almost 5 years ago, so we're almost to that 5-year mark. And my background is I have a double master's in spiritual psychology and in counseling psychology. And that path of, learning those concepts. And one of the concepts in spiritual psychology is that the person in front of you has all the tools they need to shift and change their life already inside of them. It's our job to bring it out. So, and that's a lot what you do too, Suzanne, is like you kind of embody those principles when you're working with people.
Hmm.
And, so I had this training, I had this education, I did work the work, walk the talk, all that kind of stuff. And then life happened. My husband got really sick. He had stage 4 pancreatic cancer. And we went into go mode, it was a go mode. I mean, my daughter at the
Hmm.
time was 5. I was completely unprepared for what I was going to be going through. And I knew how to take care of myself, by the way. I mean, my
Hmm.
husband accused me of being a spa junkie. If we went out of town somewhere, the first thing I did was look for a spa, you know, and it's just because I just really wanted to deeply relax and really take care of myself.
Hmm.
So here I am in this stressful situation and did not take care of myself. I didn't know how. It's like I completely forgot. Um,
Yeah. Well, it is pretty much one of the most stressful situations on the planet
really
because it
is.
was prolonged for you, like, too. And we're talking about chronic stressors, too, that last a while.
Right, right. And and one of the things that I think you and I were talking about just yesterday, Suzanne, was how our bodies hold on to our experiences. Like it's like it goes into that DNA, that energy in your body. And I was so stressed. I like after he passed away, I was just like dumbfounded as to how to put myself back together. And I had to take naps all the time. It was just crazy. And so Five Wellbeing was sort of birthed out of that, like because I really wanted, like, I knew there was an awareness that there was so many more people like me that needed that deep, deep level of relaxation. And so that's why I created Five Wellbeing. And we do a lot of different things, using aromatherapy based on the 5 elements. We use singing bowls in all of our treatments. That really, I mean, the
Hmm.
singing bowls, that vibration, talk about raising the
They're
vibration. The
amazing. Yeah.
they're such a healing tool. So,
I
you know,
actually just got my very first Tibetan singing bowl. I didn't tell
oh,
you, but I
oh,
got a really deep, like gorgeous 11-inch bowl that
mm,
really our friend hooked me up with it because it's very customized, like to find the one for you. But
right.
that is something too that I'm exploring, is that kind of sound therapy
Mm,
for helping my body and the bodies of my clients when I work with them to align to sound. It's actually, I'm realizing, I've always known this, but I'm starting to bring it in to my work because it does wonders right
right.
away. And I love how your therapists use that at the start of every single massage or
You know,
facial.
and one of the things about sound, just to give you, so
Yeah.
the body is 80% water. Okay.
Mhm.
So when you use a vibration, whether it's a tuning fork or, chimes or what have you, or a singing bowl, it literally cellularly kind of realigns things for you. And one of the things we also have at the spa are sound vibrational chairs. And these
Yes.
chairs, like 30 minutes is like 4 hours of sleep. And the reason I brought those in was because of that deep relaxation, and you don't have to do anything. You just lay there, and it just transforms you. So any way you can get around sound. I mean, I'm not talking like AC/DC rock and roll stuff. Don't know, maybe that does
Some
help.
people do find that
Yeah,
a healing, I hear.
maybe. But I'm thinking more like some, nice spiritual tones. You and I have explored a lot of stuff on YouTube with the
Mm.
the Hertz, the HZ. There's a lot of really beautiful high vibrational music on YouTube.
I
So
know, especially with the earbuds or with a really good Bose speaker or some kind of speaker. It's amazing. That's actually something we are plugging for listeners. Like, talk about a quick reboot to get your, like, all your cells back into harmony. And
Hmm.
that's what I was learning with Anne, the woman who sold me the bowl.
Oh, yeah.
It's like they're calibrated by, like in this case, in Tibet, and they're really precisely calibrated to be just the exact frequencies that are on the scale. And then those, like our body inherently knows that as homeostasis or normal. And so it just like
Hmm.
bongs you right back literally into alignment. And for me, like as an energy healer, that's my whole goal. Being in alignment is
Right.
the way that we are not in stress,
Right.
You're either out of
Quicker,
alignment and stressed or in
right,
alignment and
right.
feeling good.
Well, and the quicker you realize that, and you take some steps to, you know, to sort of shift the stress, the stress mechanism inside of us. We all have that fight or flight, um, and really reducing the cortisol is so important,
Yeah.
um, because cortisol, given its own way, once your cortisol's out, then the adrenals start to go. So, you really just, it's just so important, especially right now. I mean,
Mhm.
come on.
I know. And it is the ripple. Like if you don't nip it, right? Like that's the kind of stuff that ultimately leads to much bigger problems.
Mhm. Yeah, and right now there's nothing but stress in the world, and
Hmm.
we just have to, learn how to really manage that for ourselves because no one else is going to do it for you.
Yeah. And I mean, I always say, like, yes, that's out there. The world out there is stressed, but in your own home, in your own office, in your own body, it does not have to be that. You do not have to take it in. And so one of the things I wanted to kind of emphasize today is that Betsy and I both look at this from the whole holistic view of mind and body and spirit. And how do we stay aligned? How do we stay out of stress? Because there's all these tools, but also your mindset and your thoughts. Frankly, from what I know now, it all begins with your thoughts. Like when you
Right.
take in a thought that, oh, it's a mess out there,
Mhm.
or that terrible thing just happened, that thought triggers that sometimes cataclysmic stress response.
Right.
So we're hoping that all you listeners are like, maybe go away and think about all of those parts of you that are important to tend to, because, and your spa, Betsy, at your spa, you really help tend to all of it.
Well, we do, and
Yeah.
I mean, and I, I just want to say, I mean, this isn't about people coming to my spa, although you're all welcome. It's really about us giving some ideas and some ways that you can manage your own stress and can bring it into your own hands so that you're not just on that hamster wheel type of
Yeah.
thing, because that, I mean, that'll happen.
Yeah, totally. So let's talk a little bit. Well, I wanted to just share my part of the story too,
Yeah.
because before we jump into some more kind of tips. So I came to realize that I had it's been 8 years. I was diagnosed with breast cancer when I was working in Washington, D.C. at the time, and I had little kids. And so that kicked me into the highest stress probably ever. And I was also going through marriage issues, and I'm now divorced. And so this is a theme that I know very well. And what happened, I mean, I already had a lot of underlying serious stressors, like a high pressure job,
Mhm.
young children, a marriage that wasn't perfect. And those are some of the things I personally wanted to hit on, because sometimes, like, I was going through life not really thinking, like a lot of times we think stress is from something big, like maybe you just experienced a death or you got fired or something major. But when you have things that you're living with, that are, you're just so used to living with it.
Mhm.
I really became aware, and some of them just recently, of those things you're used to living with. And we're so good at creating, at just getting by. We don't even realize how much it's raising the stress level. So like even recently, it's been 8 years and I don't think about cancer every day, but at all. But I realized suddenly I had this built-in like stress response that really has been affecting my nervous system and even creating migraines because I was on high alert. Like
Sure.
it's like my body and my mind and everything were like,
Right.
oh God, okay, I'm gonna know when if I get it again, or things like that. And only through working through a lot of layers of all of that, because that's thoughts, it's what my body's doing, it's a lot of beliefs about cancer.
Right.
um like deconstructing that made me realize, oh my gosh, a lot of energy was going to that project and I didn't even know it.
Mm.
And so I just highlight that because, we all have a lot of those things that you're constantly like keeping in check, like, oh my God, does my boss like me? Or
Right.
do my clients like me? Or are my kids okay?
Right.
We don't even think about it because we're so good at getting by. But that's one thing I wanted to highlight, and one thing I wanted to offer too during this show for listeners. If this piques your interest, I have some tarot cards here today that I'm using for this podcast. And if you'd like to call in or message in and just ask, about a specific thing that maybe this is piquing your interest, or ask about stressors particularly, we'll be happy to give some guidance, some channeled guidance for you. So I just kind of wanted to highlight that. Anything else about that kind of stress, Betsy?
Well, the um, the thing that came up for me when you were telling your story was, wow, the cellular stress, that ends up being, from the result of, the mind, or mostly the mind. I mean, because really,
Mhm.
the actual cancer that you were experiencing probably wasn't causing as much stress as your mind and
No, it wasn't at all. It's not even a
right,
threat now,
right,
but yeah,
right.
it's all the thinking, the fear, like
Mhm.
primal fear.
Right. And one of the things that one of the things that I use pretty much almost every day, because I'm such a seeker and I'm always looking to figure out the next thing and the next version of me, whatever.
Yep.
Is I use this it's called tapping. And I know we've talked a little bit about it. It's also called emotional freedom technique. And your listeners, you guys can look up EFT or emotional freedom technique on the internet, or you can look up tapping. There's also an app that I use called the Tapping Solution. And one of the things that does, it takes 5 or 10 minutes, and and I don't know, is you're doing things. There's a certain sequence that you do on your body.
We'll do it so
Yeah,
you
and
don't look funny alone. But I use this too in my sessions.
yeah,
Sometimes it comes out as a
right,
strong recommendation to get out
right.
of constantly thinking one negative thought pattern.
Right. And like for instance, I use that tapping solution. It's an app. And the reason I use it is because they guide you through things. They guide you through it.
Mhm.
And I know how all the places and stuff. But I have to tell you, when I do that, I feel so much better. And
Mhm.
whatever issue I was working with or working on, it dissipates. My body feels better. And one of the things I love that they always say at the end is like, congratulations, you've lowered your cortisol. And
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
always like, yes, that's what I just
Mhm. And
did.
your body says thank you. Yeah.
Right, right. And so, you know, so that's I just offer that as an option, and as a real way that you could you know, work on that deep cellular stress of, of things. And it doesn't have to be cancer. It could be, you know, it could have been
Mhm.
something that happened, when you were 15 and you just don't even think about it, but it's in your body. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, so that's kind of like one of my go-tos.
Yeah, I love that because the body has this profound way of holding on, especially because our thoughts tell it to almost, like what I've learned is that we find patterns where something could have happened when you're 15 and you say, I'll never do that again. And you're literally declaring that you're going to hold on to the defense of it or what have you. And that's one way that our cells, they listen to us. Our body listens and says, okay, I'm going to hold on to it.
Mm-hmm.
And this is so tapping. I love it too. And it literally tells your body, you're safe to let this go. You're safe to stop thinking about this. You're
Yeah.
safe to be on guard or hold that memory or pain.
Right.
And I find, I mean, it's fascinating, but it's like we have to like, that's why getting a massage
I
and
know I have
telling your body too, like anything you do, it's kind of like telling your pet dog that they're okay. I often will say it like that. Like, you got to talk to your body like your dog sometime and tell it, you can be free from this.
Yeah.
And that's the mind body connection. Yeah.
Girl.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the products and how, because I know this isn't all about 5 Wellbeing, but it also is. And Betsy is the mastermind. You created these amazing products that are on your website. And I mean, I would love for it to share about them because I love them. I have them in my office. These are roller balls and lots of different products. So because you designed them very specifically for your clients to help your clients come back into alignment and relax. So talk a little bit about that and how that came about.
Well, so I mean, to do that, I'll talk about the 5 elements and
Yeah.
the 5 elements. And a lot of people, there's Ayurvedic 5 elements and there's Chinese 5 elements. And we use the Chinese 5 elements, which are earth, water, wood, metal, and fire. So those 5 elements represent some part of all of us. And they're also represented by certain seasons. Like for instance, right now we're in the season of water, which is the winter season. And so what we do is we have these 5 signature scents that were blended specifically for us to help balance the element. And what's really cool about aromatherapy in general is your body can pretty much tell you what you need and what so when you come in and do a treatment at our spa, you'll go through an aromatherapy journey, and one of those 5 scents will like stand out like, oh my God, this is it. And
Mm-hmm.
a couple of them might even be like not good, like you'd be like, oh my God, who would like that? I do that
Yeah.
sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
you know um and so we use that particular aromatherapy in your treatment, but we also created 3 different product options for people to take it home, like the roller ball that you have. um, it also has gemstones in it, gemstone
Oh,
energy.
yes. Uh-huh.
Yeah, I think
This is
that's
the fire one.
fire. Yeah, so
Mm-hmm.
that's the garnet in there. So there's garnet
Yeah.
stones, and the whole crystal energy is really great for just that and fire actually is about creating passion, about so a lot of times people choose fire when they're kind of low in energy, and maybe they're kind of like not really following their heart or their passion, and so sometimes that'll come forward, and so we use those so to help move people out of those places. And it's pretty funny. I mean, when people we explain what each element means, like if you picked a certain, like if you picked earth, for instance. Earth is all about, in balance, earth is everyone's taken care of, including me. Out of balance, earth is everyone's taken care of but me. And that's typical moms, right? We're typical of that,
Yes. Isn't that the
right?
truth?
So I
Uh-huh.
mean, so what and there's more to talk about that in our treatments. But when we tell people they're like, oh my God, how did you know? It's like, no, we didn't know. You knew.
Mm-hmm.
Your body
Yeah.
knows what you
Your
need.
body knows. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
it's pretty amazing.
I know. I know. Yeah. And that's just one beautiful way. And it's all about coming back in and getting like replenished so that you're not out of balance. And then you're not stressed. So I love that.
Yeah.
There's so many beautiful gifts like that these days that can help in an instant.
Hmm.
But the key is to ask the question, right? And to be aware, to become aware that there's something you can do. And that's really our whole message. Being aware that there's an out of balance is everything. And that because there's a tool for every single thing, and there's a new thought for every single issue too. And you guys have that mantra, you were talking about it earlier: pause, shift, flex.
No, reflect.
Oh, reflect.
Hmm.
So yeah.
I mean, it's like, when you're in that stress mode or it's like just take a moment, pause so that you can actually say, oh, I'm in stress. Otherwise, you'll just keep going, right? And then choose to shift it and maybe use a tool that we've talked about, or maybe it's just closing your eyes for a moment and asking your angels to come in and show you a different way, right?
Yes.
And then you get to kind of look back and go, wow, look what I did. Like I didn't stay in that place.
Yeah. I mean, that's the key of it all. So because there's a way to lift yourself out. But one of the other things I wanted to highlight, the other stressors that I see a lot with clients is even finances. Like it sounds like it might be unrelated, but it is. Like if you are in a situation where your finances aren't steady or certain or not, that plays a game with every part of you as well.
Mhm.
And so even that's another way, really important thing to see. And I see this a lot and tackle. It's like maybe there's not an aromatherapy for that one, but there is something you can do about it, which is deal with it and figure out how to get your credit card paid off, or how to get a loan, or how to get a job. And that's one of the bigger things I see and help people with these days, is like, how do you bring that into alignment too? Because, we've talked about our health, our finances are so important. Obviously, relationships are too.
Mhm.
They're all, I mean, it turns out it's a lot to juggle to
Well,
stay
I think
in harmony.
I think one of the things about finances that everybody does, I don't think there's any of us, well, maybe not
Yeah.
everybody, a lot of us, is we don't want to look at it,
Yeah.
right? We're like,
Right.
okay, we'll do that later, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's freedom in knowing,
Hmm.
um,
The
and
truth.
there's
Hmm.
right, and knowing exactly what is, so that you can actually start making steps towards paying that credit card off, or what have you,
Yeah.
and really working on your mindset around it, because once you pay that credit card off, you don't want to go back, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
You want to be able to put in some, so the like I said, I don't mean to focus on tapping, but tapping is one of those things. There's tapping meditations for finances, and
Hmm.
or whatever, relationships, or
Yeah, it starts with that too, changing your mindset. Like, I
yes.
am okay with money, and I'm going to figure out how to deal with it. Or yeah. Does that tapping app? It has ones about finance too. That would
Oh,
be good for
yes,
listeners. Okay.
tons of
Yeah.
I mean, I
Yeah.
think they have probably 300 different things, every subject. They even have stuff on there for coronavirus and
Oh
stuff.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I
Because
believe
it's
it. That's
stressful. Yeah. Well,
necessary.
and this, I mean, I had COVID 2 weeks ago, and every night I did a tapping release before I went to bed on COVID. And
Hmm.
it made me feel, I don't know if it helped me with my COVID, but it made me feel better.
It did, because it made you feel better. Absolutely. I mean, our feelings are a huge part of it all. Absolutely. That's one reason tapping works, because it makes you feel
Right.
more
Well,
positive and you have more empowerment
and
too.
I think also it's like when you're doing something, whether it's anything, I don't know, it could be a walk, it could be, you're doing something for your situation. It it's good
Yeah,
medicine, no matter what.
it is. Yeah, because as we know, when you take some action, spirit meets you in action.
Yeah.
Okay, well, Betsy, thank you. Is there anything else? We're going to take a short break and then come back for readings. Is there anything else you want to share before we take a quick break?
No, well, just that, I encourage people to like find that one or two things that they can do that doesn't cost them a lot of money or time to
Mm-hmm.
they can maybe bring them some peace when the stress is out of control. And
Mm-hmm.
it's better to do it when it's not out of control, but hey,
Yeah.
whatever you can do, we're all doing the best we can.
Yeah, you know what? Actually, let's give one more little tip. This is something I work a lot with my clients on, is like changing the wording you use. So a lot of people, we know the story, like you or people say, "Oh my gosh, I'm so stressed out." Well, stop saying that
Hmm.
and even switch the sentence. Switch the sentence to something that's empowering, like I'm figuring it out. I'm figuring my week out, so I have time. Or I I love all the things I get to do right now because it's bringing me to where I want to be. That alone is so critical. Those words. It's one of the first things I always highlight when I speak to my clients, because it's where the thoughts are, but the words. So maybe that's another tip we can give you all.
Yeah.
Sit down and think, like, or catch yourself in the next week driving and saying the same old thing, and rewrite that word, the words that come out of your mouth.
Right. Yeah, that's
It's
great.
huge.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we are going to take a short break. And when we come back, if you'd like to call in or message in through Facebook Messenger, we'll do some tarot card draws if you've got a specific question or a general one about anything causing stress in your life or imbalance. So stay tuned, and we'll be back in a few minutes. Hi, Betsy. Welcome back. And hi, listeners. This is Suzanne Alexandria, back talking today on Soul Activation podcast about stressors and what can we do about that. I don't think we can have any short. We need these days lots of tips just to stay in alignment, and that's what we're talking about. So, if there are any callers who'd like to call in to receive a reading with tarot cards and with angels, please call in. The number is 800-930-2819. And we do have a couple coming in, so we're going to go ahead and start. But we're actually going to start right here with Betsy first, and then we'll get to the ones online. So Betsy, we just thought it would be fun to do a card together about this. Do you have a specific question, or do you just want to ask your angels generally something?
Well, I mean, I think my question might be sort of maybe a question or a thing that everyone might be interested in, because one of the things that continues to come up, I mean, Suzanne knows a little bit about me, and I've been out dating and all that kind of thing, and running into um, a situation I never really thought would ever come into dating, and that's all about sort of the uncertainty of this country. And how politics play into that,
Mm-hmm.
and all of that. And I don't like that,
Mm-hmm.
but it's here. And I guess my question is, um, what is I don't expect uncertainty to ever go away, but what are the things that I need to do to bring people together versus polarizing?
That's a beautiful question. Yeah.
Yeah.
hmm Yeah. Like, so what's spirit's guidance to that we can, even like we were just saying, think, like, change our thoughts about it?
Right, right.
Because, like, I think a lot of us watch what's going on and we have our thoughts and beliefs, but the change has to start somewhere with a new idea. So I love that. So let's ask that. That's a beautiful question. So what I feel, so I work with archangels and ascended masters, and I feel like this question, Betsy, just went right to the top, and we have Metatron energy right here with this. So Metatron, this is for Betsy, but on behalf of all of us who sit and wonder, what do we do to bring unification? Okay.
Mm.
Hmm. Oh, and wow, look at the card. I got 3 of cups, which
Mm.
are 3 people like bringing their cups together in a
Oh,
toast with butterflies.
wow.
Oh my gosh, unification,
Mm.
unification, unification. So the first thing that strikes me is at the very top of the card, there are 3 spirals. If you're watching the screen,
Yeah.
you can
Mhm.
see there's 3 spirals, and that, so it's 3 people with intentionally coming together, and toasting. Let's call it toasting, but really, like, those look like the heart compass, to be honest,
Mhm.
on the cup. But these spirals are so clear, and I mean, that just kind of goes to your intention. What do we do? Because what's so friggin' annoying is that everybody has their own agenda.
Mhm.
And I mean individuals, but also parties, and also,
Right.
groups.
Right.
But but in the spirit of that, I mean, what Metatron is saying, what I'm getting from this is like, it's pretty clear you come together.
Right. Right.
And you join forces. But I'm going to get some more specifics. So that's the goal, right here. This is the card, that's the outcome. But we're going to draw another card about that to show something specific, because on one hand, all of us are questioning, what the hell do we do? But the answer is so simple. We come together and we say, hey, we are the ones that need to figure this out. What
Totally.
are we going to do? Not what are the damn Democrats or the damn Republicans or whatever going to do?
Right.
Because in
Whatever your
some
damage.
sense, or the president, even, like, what's the president going to do about this? Well, like, that's part of the issue that I'm seeing. Metatron is showing, it's part of the issue is the constant, like, pointing out to, what are they going to do? What are they doing about it for us? What's the
Right.
government doing? So keeping that, like, you asked the question, what do we do? So then I get the 6 of Pentacles, and I'm going to show that on the screen. There's a white buffalo, and looks like white buffalo woman. And so she is, this one is tricky this is tricky. She's holding what looks like it's a Native American kind of axe, but I think it looks like a peace pipe. And it almost looks like it looks like, to me, in this instance, she's giving an offering of something really sacred. Hmm.
Mm.
Hmm. That's actually kind of striking me as really profound. What's the offering? Instead of thinking we always have to take it and get it, what's the offering of something sacred so that we can come together?
Mm.
What would that be for each of us? The peace pipe offering.
Right.
What does each of us need to offer, and perhaps even leave behind, in order to come to a better place of homeostasis in this place? Wow, it's striking me like, energetically,
Right.
as a really profound um, understanding. What are you getting with that, Betsy? Is that striking you?
Yeah, and I think a lot of it is, that that y- taking personal responsibility, for your own behaviors and actions is the
Mhm.
start. And what can you offer? What can you do?
Mhm.
Lending that, versus lending that
The
I was
we.
I was
Mhm.
gonna say, yeah, instead of me, it's we, but what can you do to, like, branch out and offer um
Mhm.
that branch? Like, one of the things I do, and I don't know if this is helping with the overall situation or not, but
But I think it happens at the little level, with all of
right.
us. Like, we're not going to DC, but
Right.
that's how it
Well,
happens.
it's, yeah, and I mean, I guess try to do little things like, if I'm in the line at Starbucks and I'll buy the person behind me coffee. Sometimes I'll use my little Starbucks points or whatever, but it. I mean, it makes me feel good, and I love running away. Like, I don't want them to see
Mhm.
me. I don't want them to like thank me. It's like I just want them to like,
Yeah.
I want to bless them, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I don't know, does that count? Is that one of the things? I mean, I'm assuming it's part of it, but I think we all have to like um, be willing to listen
Hmm.
and ask questions, and
Yeah.
not think you know it all. I mean, it's the know-it-alls that are just you don't know it all. None of us do.
Nobody does. And I mean, to me, I think that's if I were to say like what this is showing and what I've been sensing lately is that we don't know. And we have even to let go of that ego that thinks that that someone knows, because it's almost like we have to get so cleared out of notions that anyone has the right answer yet, and come into it like, okay, let's just start from scratch. It strikes me because I read a meme the other day and I commented on it, and my comment was about I had the really amazing experience last fall of working on a project with a government agency with where I got to sit in on meetings with the Navajo Nation leaders, and I got to learn how they operate. And the whole time I was enamored with their way and thinking, oh my gosh, they have so much to teach me or us, because we're so used to having meetings and getting answers and walking away with our agenda completed and blah, blah, blah. And in the Navajo way, it's very specific that they don't speak. They go away and think about it even for weeks and ponder what's for the greatest good for the future for several generations. And that that feels very much like what this is it's like, take the peace pipe, take your turn, but let's stop thinking that that even I have the answer, because I don't know. And it even allows spirit to come in and give you a different answer,
Right.
however you want to interpret that, like open up the circle to let's look at for a higher perspective. And I think that's the feeling of this from Metatron. What's a higher, even a way higher perspective to look at what's going on in our world. But it can be also in every relationship, in every situation.
Well, and to me, it's also, raising the vibration. Um,
Hmm.
and, whatever you do, whether I mean, some people pray, some people meditate, some people, um, talk to dead loved ones. I don't know,
Yeah.
or angels, but it's like, ask. I mean, one thing I know is if you don't ask, you're not going to
Hmm.
receive. And that goes for
Hmm.
the seen and the unseen world,
Yeah.
mostly for the unseen world, because they really, like you said, they really want to help us,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So you know, ask for healing and forgiveness, and less judgment around what's happening in our world. So
Yeah, that's the big thing that I'm getting with Metatron. But ask for what's the higher perspective.
okay.
Ask, like, take it up a lot, take it up a notch from like what's Betsy's thought to what's Spirit's thought on this,
Yeah.
or what's Suzanne's. Yeah. So that's what I'm getting with that. Thank you for asking that question, Betsy. That's a really beautiful one. And we'll answer your dating questions later.
Oh, that's fine. Okay.
So we do have a caller. There's a JC asking, so has a question about specific towards moving forward in career, unsure about future endeavors. Okay, so I'm going to draw a card for that, for those initials. So Betsy, can you help pray that in? We'll do this one together.
Okay.
So for JC out there, we hear you. What is any guidance for your career moving forward? First, I'm going to ask for a guiding angel for you, JC, to tap into, because this is a bigger, kind of longer term question, and this is a short reading. So if you would want to tap into Archangel Gabriel is your angel for this. I always like to give that so you have a little more connection. And even if you don't know Archangel Gabriel, look Gabriel up and connect and start to kind of pray or ask or seek some opening. You could simply ask for opening of your own heart into the career that, or the future in your current career that you wish. But so that's the first thing coming through for you. And Archangel Gabriel to me always is a light blue color. And this card, I just want to emphasize, has got all this light blue. So I always like when there's synchronicities and confirmation. This is the Knight of Cups. Okay. So that's the Knight is on a journey and moving forward in tarot. Well, that's one way to interpret the Knight. And the Knight of Cups, look, he's holding this beautiful cup. He's got wings to fly. And in this deck of cards, he's on the unicorn, which is pretty awesome. And what's keying in for me here is that there's a labyrinth on his sword right in the center. Okay.
Wow.
It's not a cross, and it's not like it is a labyrinth. And on this card, that's what's totally catching my eye. Betsy, I don't know. I'll hold it like that.
No,
see if there's anything.
I mean, that was the first one.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So JC, the thing is that you have a quest, you have some big desires, is what I feel. You have really grand, big desires, which is awesome, because what I know and what I've learned is that our desires are God's gift to us, like spirit, as a spirit, to want something and work towards it. So you've got those. It's very clear. I don't see exactly what they are, but you have them. And look, I mean, this card is like you're on the unicorn. He's not off of it. He's on it, but you got to go deep. You need to do some introspection, is what that labyrinth says to me. You've got it. You know what you want, but you got to get deep and go inside your heart and say, it's actually feels like you got to say, how badly do you want it? What are you willing to do for it? Is what I get. Mm-hmm. Like, you want something pretty badly, and how badly do you want it? Are you willing to take a dare? Like, are you willing to, it's not a risk. Are you willing to do it? Are you willing to do it? That's what I'm getting. It's not even risky, buddy. So it doesn't feel like it, but it's like you inwardly need to say, yeah, I actually am willing to do that. I actually am. And if you do that, if you say that to yourself and declare that, you'll start to see how the pieces fall into place. But get off the fence about it and just say, yeah, I get it. I want to do that. And like, I see apples starting to fall off of a tree. Like, stuff will start to become clear to you. So anything else, Betsy, you get with that?
Yeah. So the labyrinth to me, it's about taking steps forward with intention. So it doesn't mean you have to go all the way in to this, whatever's next for you, but you have to take the steps forward, and you have to be intentional about it with your goal in mind. So I mean, is it risky? Probably not really risky. Is it scary? Maybe it's a little scary. But you know what? That labyrinth is going to hold you, and it's going to guide you right to the center and then right back out, so that you can do exactly what you came here to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And also, by the way, like, now I see there's all these fish. Those little gold specks are fish swimming around the labyrinth.
Yeah.
So, like, people are waiting for what you want to accomplish. I think that's, who you want to serve. People are waiting
Mhm.
for you. They're swimming around waiting for you.
Yeah, so don't make them
Don't
wait.
delay. No, make haste.
Don't rip them off, because
Yeah, exactly. Otherwise, they're going to swim away and find someone else.
Right.
And we don't want that to happen for you. So we hope that blesses you and resonates. And there is one more message. I'm going to take another 1 minute. There is a caller that asked, that messaged about a sciatica. So shooting pain down your hip. And so that can definitely be a stressor. So I'm just going to do this real fast because we have to wrap up, but I love that we got this question too. So this is for that. And I get the High Priestess card and it just fell on the floor. So the High Priestess is, that's your, okay, in the terms of this, for this caller with the sciatica, the High Priestess is really in her knowing. I'm just going to tune in to see what the guidance is specifically then for sciatica. What I get is that this pain is triggering a deep set fear. That, I mean, obviously something physical happened, but it's triggering a deep fear and doubt. And so don't let it do that. Stay in your place of, the priestess knows herself or himself. The priestess knows. And so I'm seeing that this triggered doubt, like, what have I done now? What did I do to deserve this? It's not about that. It's not about that. So stay out of doubt. This is physical pain and there are some things to uncover, but I'm just getting the key for you is stay out of doubt of what did I do? Oh my God. Because it's like it's triggering some old thing that I've messed everything up again. That's what I'm getting with that one. Okay. Anything real fast, Betsy, or shall we get to wrap up? Okay. All right. Well, so I hope that helps. I know that was a really quick one for that reading. Please reach out to me on Facebook or Instagram or SuzanneAlexandria.com if you're interested in getting guidance like this from your angels. And Betsy Abrams, thank you. Thank you so much for joining me today about stress and how we can knock it off the radar and stay calm.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much. And we'll see you next time on Soul Activation Podcast. Thanks, everyone. To me, this path of healing and enlightenment is this immaculate process of finding all the parts of us that have been lost and hidden and even taken, and then very masterfully and lovingly recombining ourselves, coming into our true self. And then all of a sudden realizing, oh my gosh, I'm home. Thank you for listening to Soul Activation Podcast. For more information about me, visit SuzanneAlexandria.com. Tune in every second and fourth Monday, 2 p.m. Central, 5 p.m. Eastern at transformationtalkradio.com.